Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Shivam once again, and today I am here with you with a very interesting concept. Interesting, and I would also say important. See what's happening today. If you look around you all over the world, democracies are not functioning properly. Democracies are failing. In fact, if you look any of the democracies, be they North America, I would say the Greater West. Now, the Greater West includes North America, Europe, and also Oceania, that is New Zealand and Australia. And we can see that the democracies are not functioning healthily as they are supposed to be. And a part of this reason, I believe that democracy is not a continuous, should never be a continuous process for any society. Now, what do I mean by continuity? I believe that a society cannot be on democracy forever. There should be interruptions. And what do I mean by that? Because I mean that if a society is on democracy for indefinitely, the democracy gets stale. Now, how does it get stale? It gets stale because of leadership. Now, what is one of the main aspects of democracy? The main aspects of democracy is changing leadership every so often. In some countries, it is 3 years. Some countries, it is four, like in America. And then you've got 5 years in here in Bharat. And many other countries, it is 6 years also. But the thing is, the leadership is changing. And what is happening is, many of these democracies today are in election mode. Now, what do you mean by election mode? They are always campaigning from one election to another election. Some sorts of election is going on all the time, be it regional elections or national elections. And the leadership of all the governments as well as opposition parties, they are only focusing mainly how to win the next election. And for these purposes, they are ready to compromise on their ideals, they are ready to compromise on their core principles. The object is only to stay in power or wrest power. If you are in the government, then you have to retain your power. And so, if you are in the opposition, you have to somehow displace the government and come to power. So, this is the only objective of the many of the leadership today in democracies. Even though they may say big, big things in speech, long term vision, and everything, in the back of their minds, it is always how to win the next election. You can always see the way they conduct themselves, the statements they make, okay, the way they manipulate things. It is always like that. And even if the leadership is not ready to do that, the forces backing them, especially the economic forces and other political forces and vested interests, they make sure that the objective is to win the next election, so that when you are in power, you are able to get your agenda done. So this is the main thing today is that is affecting the ill of many democracies. Many democracies are suffering from this, and today we don't have leaders, we have politicians in many democracies. They lie a lot, they cheat a lot, they don't mean what they say, they don't have long term vision, and they pretend to have long term vision, but their objective, as I told you, is only to win the next election. So, because of this, democracy is failing not only in Bharat but also in the greater West. You can see how the Democrats and Republicans in America are only obsessed with the next upcoming elections of 2024 presidential polls. Then you can see here in Bharat, both the government and opposition are principally concerned about the 2024 parliamentary elections that is going to come up. Then all the time you can see the politics of the various state elections all the time going on. This party is trying to displace that party is trying to displace this party trying to retain power, some party is trying to displace it and take on the power. So this is constantly happening. And no political leader is able, worth his salt, is able to have any long-term goals other than devise strategies to retain power or wrest power. So this is happening in almost all democracies. You can see in the UK, you can see this happening in Australia, New Zealand, everywhere. So consequently, it is the populace that is suffering. So because these leaders are compromising the long-term interests of the population that elect them for their own political office, survival of their own political office. So this is the problem. And unfortunately, election to election to election, the democracies are getting stale. Their inherent power is reducing. And instability is coming up. The populace is very unhappy. So what is the solution for this? I would say that there should be a reset, grand reset in all democracies. Now, what do you mean by reset? A reset means after every 20 years of democracy, there should be a minimum of 7-year period of reset. And during this 7 year period of reset, there should be no political party that should be allowed to form government. The government should be formed from non-political organizations who are only concerned with the actual interests of the land, economic, social, ecological, etc., etc. For 7 years, it should be like a kind of a presidential rule, not even presidential. I would say that should be ruled by non-political interests for 7 years. Everything should be reset back, and after 7 years the country can then again go back to the election mode, and which should be run again for another 20 years time. And before it gets stale, once again there should be reset for 7 years. And this is the only way the democracy can survive. Otherwise there should be, without the constant renewal, otherwise if there is no renewal like this and no reset, democracies will go stale because of this rotting political leadership, where the principal objective is only to either retain power or come to power and compromise the actual interests of the land and its people. I hope I made sense to you. If I got any feedback, please leave them as comments. Thank you.